Mimi nilikuwa mtu ya mkono ya baba. Ya, na Karoli hapa ndio alikuwa anamwambia ako ofisi leo, anasema yeye anamwambia fungulia mimi. And so there is no reason why
His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto has done a fantastic job in 2 years under very difficult circumstances. There are many critics who want to judge him with the entire terms of past presidents. But as a matter of fact, if you take 2 years of every president when they came to office, His Excellency William Ruto has done extremely well in 2 years. In 2 years has done extremely well. I have also never seen another president who is so meticulous in ticking every line of his manifesto. This man, you people don't know. Go and pick Kenya Kwanza manifesto and tell us where the president has failed. Go and pick the manifesto. He preached about universal health care. He pushed it even with the greatest opposition, especially for those who are benefiting from NHIF, especially religious clinics that were getting money from NHIF and they were not accounting as they were supposed to be. He stood firm. In the housing project, which we preached for many years, he stood firm. In terms of lowering the cost of living, the cost of unga coming down, he has fulfilled his promise. In terms of dealing with CBC, it was the first thing, he fulfilled his promise. In terms of dealing with the issues of education, especially funding for our universities, he took the bold step. He's fulfilling his promise. I want those critics who are criticizing us on the delivery of his manifesto to go to the manifesto itself and criticize us using the manifesto. And we are willing to answer questions based on the manifesto itself. Our country is back to a path of growth, and the trajectory we are taking is going to make this country great. The only mistake perhaps you can accuse the president for is for extending a hand of brotherhood and friendship to the opposition side and telling them we can still have opposition but have a national interest for working together as a team and as a family. If he is guilty, he is only guilty for that. For holding the hand of former prime minister, for calling many people who criticized and fought him and accommodating them in government, he is guilty as charged. But in terms of his manifesto diligence, he has been very diligent. And I believe that hand of friendship is not going to end with the former prime minister. The president is going to reach out to everybody across the country. Even our former vice president, Kalonzo, is welcome to work with the president. You saw how the former president, the fourth, Uhuru Kenyatta, came to a function with the president and spoke very well against the tribalism and unity of the country. The same message we are talking about here about tribalism. Yesterday when I talked in Kericho and I said, let us not cloud the successes of our president with people whose mindset is about tribalism. I was very clear in my mind. The challenge we have faced in the last 2 years are people who go around the country counting shares and telling other Kenyans, you are not shareholders. It is people who are wearing tribal lenses when they are trying to judge the success of this government. And we are very firm about that because we know them. They are not strangers. We know them. We know where they come from. And we know them because of their fruits. We are saying as a government, we are ready for criticism. But pick our manifesto, pick the things we promised, criticize us on those things, help us also on those things, and let's work together to make sure that this country becomes a better country. And this is really what is going to take this country forward. I have no doubt, even if I remain the only prophet in town, I have no doubt that this country is going to be great than ever before because of the visionary leadership of President William Samoei Ruto.
Mambo mengi yanaendelea kwa nchi yetu. Kuna watu wengi hawa appreciate kwamba kazi inaendelea, lakini Mheshimiwa Rais amefanya kazi kubwa sana. Na waomba kutumia hii mkutano, kila mtu mwenye ako hapa, make sure umejiregister kwa Taifa Care ambayo inaitwa Social Health Insurance yenye tunataka kufanya. Hiyo universal insurance is very important. Na unasikia kelele kidogo, lakini in 6 months you will see what will happen. Because Taifa Care is solving the biggest problem we have. We are unable to do business, to support our children to do business because mtu mmoja tu akikonjeka hivi kwa village, sisi wote tunafanya harambee. Sasa Taifa Care is footing the entire bill of all people who have facing critical care or terminal diseases, and it is going to elevate suffering from communities. And I want to ask all of us to support His Excellency the President by making sure that we register ourselves for our own sake, because this is a program tumeimbia kwa miaka mingi, lakini kwa sababu rais ni mtu ambaye ni mjasiri na mwenye nguvu, he took the hard decision to make sure that we have universal health care. Mheshimiwa Rais, tumeongelelea housing for many years. Our plumbers tuna graduate, electricians, masons ambao wanatoka hapa wanapata kazi kwa building yenye tunajenga kupitia housing project, because the president took the hard decision to make sure that the right to dignity as promised is implemented. Tumefanya mambo ya economy ya Kenya yetu, mambo ya inflation imeshuka, mambo mingi ambayo yanasaidia nchi yetu, mambo ya bei ya chakula imeshuka. Jameni, mimi nataka kusema hivi, and I have seen many people criticizing the president, and sometimes the criticism that is leveled against the President William Ruto is extremely unfair, being caricatured and insulted. And especially if you look at what the president has done in 2 years. 2 years is not comparable with his predecessors in their 2 years in office. Mheshimiwa Rais kwa miaka 2 amebadilisha uchumi ya Kenya ambayo ilikuwa inaenda kusoroteka, na mpaka saa hizi tuko inflation imeshuka chini, will be the high, yani the lowest we have had in almost 17 years. And he's being criticized. And sometimes I want to say this as I am in Kericho here. I find it unfair that many people, especially the church, the media, and our critics, are criticizing President William Ruto not based on the facts, on the things we are doing, but it's a criticism that is laced with tribalism. I find it unfair that President William Ruto is not being compared with President Uhuru Kenyatta, is not being compared with President Mwai Kibaki, is not even being compared with President Jomo Kenyatta. Because of the disease and mentality of tribalism, every critic of William Ruto is comparing him with Daniel Arap Moi, as if there was only one president before him. It is unfair to find fault on the president based on where he comes from or comparing with a president who came from this community before. Let's criticize him for the facts as they are. Compare President William Ruto with his predecessor the first 2 years. Compare President Ruto with President Mwai Kibaki the first 2 years. In 2003, 2004, everybody was crying that President Kibaki amemaliza uchumi, amefanya nini, amefanya. By 2007, if it was not for post-election violence, President Kibaki was being celebrated for turning around the economy. And that's why we want to say here confidently that we have confidence in President William Samoei Ruto. If we give him the necessary time and criticize him fairly, we are going to get proper results for our country. And there is no other country. This is our country. Let us not lace our criticism with tribalism. Let us focus on criticism that are based on the facts and the issues at hand, so that we can be able to find fairly what we want to tell the president to do. Kwa hivyo watu ya Kericho, kwa sababu ya muda, mimi nataka nishukuru sana. Huyu leo Tarimbo amenisifu sana. Na anakuanga ananilima. So nikauliza gavana, kwani nimefanya makosa gani leo ndio huyu mtu amenisifu? Lakini amenisifu kwa sababu ameona kwamba kumbe hii propaganda imewekwa kuhusu Kipchumba kumbe ni uongo. Ya? Na mimi nataka niwaambie tusikue inji ya kuangalia sana mambo ya propaganda. Kuna watu wengi wanasema Kipchumba hii, Kipchumba ile, mpaka saa zingine hata nikiona ile Kipchumba inasemwa kwa social media na Kipchumba mimi mwenyewe nashangaa kama kuna Kipchumba mbili. Mimi nataka tupatie nafasi viongozi wetu hawa wote. Tufanye kazi pamoja jameni. Huyu governor wenu, being my friend, I want to say this. Hii friendship imeanza tu juzi ya ukweli. Samani nilikuwa namwambia mimi ni mtu mzuri, hakuwa anaamini. Lakini siku hizi anaamini mimi ni mtu mzuri.